And welcome back to the Murdy Creative Co podcast. I'm your host, Colin Murdy, and today's topic is coronavirus. But first, I want to say thank you to everyone who supported the company so far. If you haven't got a chance, go check us out on the web at murdycreative.co. That's MURDY creative.co. Or you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram by searching at murdycreative.co to see the best of our product shots. Follow us to keep up to date with our daily photos and be the first one to know about new product launches. You can also use the subscribe button at the bottom of our website to be included in all of our new product announcements. Be sure to check out our laser engraving, personalization options, and exclusive colors on the website, or you can get a blank one on Amazon Prime. Also, text Murdy, M-U-R-D-Y, to 77222. That's Murdy, M-U-R-D-Y, to 77222 to be part of my special club where there's all sorts of cool exclusive things that we're doing there, and it's going to be really cool stuff. So check that out. Text Murdy, M-U-R-D-Y, to 77222. All right, so today we're talking about coronavirus, and I don't want to make fun or light of the very real panic and pandemic that is out there. Obviously, there have been people that have died from this, and it's an incredibly dangerous illness and all of the other things that go along with that. And if you are part of the risk population, if I seem like I'm making light of it, trust me, I'm very seriously concerned about this for my personal family that are in the group of population that, could fall ill and die. And so I'm not taking light in that regard. However, this is an unbelievable time for me. And I just mean that in the most unbelievable way, because what an adventure this last month has been, right? Like, I think if we just take one step back, right? Nobody likes panic and it's all scary and everything like that. But if we take a step back and we just describe the last month, well, this whole year, really, it's been just a spectacularly absurd, like, if you described this to a reality TV producer, he'd be like, nah, I think that's a little too far-fetched. So I think that that's like the case here. Like, in the last 30 days, the best stock market in U.S. history just crashed by 30%. And that happened in a matter of like days, just cratered. And for no real reason other than obviously the concern about people having to be quarantined. But we're not quite there yet, but we still are worried about it. But we're not sure how bad it could get. But we're still, like, it's just crazy. The MLB, the NBA, the NHL, all of the major sports franchises have closed their seasons indefinitely, right? Like, this is crazy. Disney World is closed. I mean, that's, it's serious when Disney World is closed, right? Like, all the cruise liners are closed. It's crazy. This is an interesting time. Now, do I think that the dangers of the illness justify the level of panic that has ensued? No. I actually think everyone also agrees with me on that. The concern is, right, that this could get completely out of hand. However, that doesn't seem likely, particularly in light of the quarantine effects that we've been trying to put into place. I don't really want to talk much about the virus itself. I want to talk more about what we're doing here at the Murdy Creative Company to solve this problem, because it is a genuine problem, and not the illness. That's a relatively minor problem for us, but like what is happening around the illness is a much bigger problem, right? I want to talk about, the effects Lee and I are taking as far as personally about quarantining and things like that, because obviously we have James, even though it doesn't seem to affect young children at all, and also the things we're doing to survive, because this is... Small businesses often are the first to die off in really sharp downturns. Now, we'll see exactly how long this lasts, right? For those of you who remember 2008 and go back and do the math, you can look at the numbers. The downturn, recovered very quickly. Like, the immediate, obviously the long-term effects existed still, but like the really serious nosedive bounced out really quickly. And, so the question is can we survive a serious downturn? And that's a great question, and I guess the answer is we'll see. But the good news is this. I'm optimistic that we can use this as an opportunity, right? I think there's a lot of opportunities to be had. We have an incredibly good group of people that are working here. We have very, very dedicated workers, many of whom have already mentioned to me that they're willing to take a pay cut to help, the company, which is incredibly generous of them and very, very, very encouraging for me as the owner. And obviously we're doing our absolute best to make sure that doesn't have to happen. But so I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of give you a vision from my perspective. So here I am in my seat, right? The company has grown massively over the last 2 years. It's been an amazing opportunity, right? We've seen huge growth, but we've been very, very specific in that we have not really taken much outside capital, at least not unfunded capital, right? For example, the line of credit that the company has is entirely cash collateralized. What that means is we're borrowing money from ourselves, essentially. Now, that's good, right? From a banking perspective, that's good. Part of the reason why we've done that is because any of the financing that we could have gotten was going to be unbelievably expensive, right? Like all of the loans from PayPal, from Square, from QuickBooks, from Amazon, they're all happy to lend money to small businesses. However, they charge like, it's worse than credit cards. Like they're charging like 25% in some cases APR, which is a lot of money to think out. Now they'll loan it to you with no questions asked, right? It's kind of concerning, but they'll give you the money, no questions asked, no personal guarantee, but it's an absurd rate. So we've really tried to avoid those loans as much as humanly possible, because it's like you end up working for them rather than, for yourself if you take on too much of that debt. But with that in mind, we've had to pump all of our profits into the company to just continue to grow it, right? If you grow, you have to buy more inventory, buy more machines, hire more people. There's just things that are expensive, right? So we don't have some big pile of money laying around. In fact, the emergency reserves that we had stashed away over the last month and a half, 2 months, kind of all dried up within the last few days, actually. The curse of the 11th is strong. We had, for those of you who don't know, who haven't listened to the podcast, for whatever reason, the 11th of the month for us is always our worst day. Now, we don't do anything different that day. Nothing changes for us. It's the same ad buy. It's the same thing. It's not every month, but it's consistent enough that it's the curse of the 11th. And it's very true. And the funny thing is our rent comes due on the 11th. This particular time around, we had a big leather bill that came due on the 11th, and we had a variety of other things. I think it wasn't payday, but it was it was about payday. So we had a lot of things happen all at once. So when it comes down to it, I think, we kind of burned through a lot of our cash reserves that we had put there, and that's obviously a concern. But now we have to be creative, right? Now we have to say, okay, well, we can't just rely on, slowly burning. And the last 3 weeks have been very slow. And I don't know if that's related to the fact that the sale happened and suddenly people are like, well, we don't want to buy because there might be another sale, which is something I was concerned about in the first place. Or if it's well, I'm worried that coronavirus is going to get so bad that I can't afford anything, and so I'm saving all my money, which is very common. Or the market just tanked 30%, and so I'm not as rich as I used to be. All of these are very real concerns. I don't think that really any of them are going to be long-term problems. I think that all of those things kind of resolve themselves. But we've seen slow sales. So, I think that this quarantine, which is, I think everyone agrees, the CDC, the WHO, anybody agrees that quarantine seems to be the most effective solution to this problem. Now, arguably, quarantine is more possible now than it would have been even 5 or 10 years ago. But it's also more difficult now than it would have been 20 or 30 years ago. And what I mean by that is because the economies are so interconnected and the global economy is so built into itself, if you have to shut down parts of it for any sort of period of time, it actually has a huge ripple effect. And that's exactly what we're seeing in the market, right? The fact that Disney World is closed and the cruise liner is closed is going to be a huge problem for the travel industry. Also, the fact that gas prices, the Middle East and Russia decided to go to, in the middle of an economic trade war over oil prices is going to really sharply affect things. For the better or worse, we're not really 100% sure, but it's definitely not a good indicator for those who like to watch the stock market. It's good for the rest of us, right? Cheap gas is great. It's going to have a problem with the American fracking industry. So there's these ripple effects, as you can see throughout the economy. And so for us, the question is going to be is, will the ripple effects of people being sent home to work from home have a long-term effect on spending, buying, and other things along the lines for us? I do think that this may be a good opportunity for us. This could be an awesome opportunity for us, depending on how it goes. Option A, the biggest competitor, I should say, to the Murdy Creative Company is travel, concerts, restaurants, right? Because if you're spending your money on a plane ticket, if you're going to a concert, if you're spending your money eating out at a restaurant, well, you're not spending it on books and journals, right? Like there's a genuine cost things that, like, I don't consider other leather goods our major competitors. We're pretty much the top of the market. Like we make, pat myself on the back here, but we make one of the best products out there for leather. So from a competitive standpoint, we're doing better than our competitors because we also make it for about or cheaper than most of our competitors for a better product. So that isn't really our competition. Our competition is all of the other things that you could spend your money on other than us. And that's where I think is an opportunity here, because at some level, with travel being shut down, with concerts being shut down, with people not wanting to go out to eat, they're going to stay home and probably scroll on their phone. And so this provides an opportunity for us to really capture a lot of those people. So the first thing I did was I doubled our ad buy. And I ramped up a variety of new types of ads. So now we're not just advertising go to profile, which was a big part of our 100,000K strategy that we hit. But now we're also advertising just go to website. And it's a shift from our previous policy, but we'll see how it works, right? We're going to try to get people to convert for a change rather than just following us, which I think will be, hopefully we'll see how it works, right? It may have been a better plan before, but who knows? So we're going to be pushing on our advertisements to try to get people to convert better. We're also going to be working on spending a little bit more money quickly, I should say, on ramping up and bringing new products to the market, right? To try to get people excited and engaged and say, you know what, I can spend money on that rather than saying, oh, I should hoard my money because I'm worried about things. So I think if we can try those different things, that may help us grow. Now, the downside of this and the hard part of this is that we have to generate sales, right? We have to have cash flow. Because if you're doing something like we're doing where you're doing a big ad push and you're doing a quick ad buy and it doesn't work, we don't have, we don't have $10, $20, $30,000 just sitting in the bank for us to spend money on stuff, right? We don't have a lot of reserves. So it's got to work. That being said, it could work really well. And that's an opportunity for us. One of the big pushes that we were going to try to do this summer, and I think we still might do it, was a catalog, and part of that was to try to advertise our accessories lines to companies as things they could give away at their marketing events. That has to probably be put on hold because I don't know if that's going to actually happen because a lot of the events are now canceled. So I'm trying to reformulate our strategy a little bit in regards to some of these things, but overall our strategy is the same: make amazing quality products at a very good price and make sure that we can try to communicate that with our customers. And the good news is this: now is the perfect time to journal. I actually wrote in my journal last night just all about what was happening, right? Like the coronavirus panic, because I 100% guarantee that next year, 10 years, 15 years down the road, I'm going to be curious about what I actually thought about in the moment, right? I'm going to be curious about what did I think? And I know my kids are, because like, for example, I've asked my dad, I talked about this on my Instagram yesterday. I asked my dad, what was it like to watch the Twin Towers fall, right? What was it like to watch the Berlin Wall fall? Or what was it like to live through Vietnam, right? I don't know anything about any of those times. And to be honest, the answers he gives are relatively like, you can tell that he doesn't exactly remember what it was like to be in the moment. And I would give anything to have a journal my father kept during the Vietnam War era when he was a young man, right? He was in college around that time, right? I think he was born in what, 59, 57? Oh, I'm going to get killed for this because he listens to the podcast. Sorry, Dad, I don't know your birthday. February 3rd, sometime in the late 50s, early 60s. So he would have been a young man in Vietnam. To get back to my point, which means that he would have seen this. It would have been personal. He would have known people that have been going off to the war. I mean, like this is the world that he lived in, and I would kill to be able to read what he was thinking in that time, right? Because that's amazing history. So, this is an opportunity, I think, for us to say, you know what, write about this, right? Tell yourself, remember this, write this down, because this is going to be important later for you to remember when Disney World closed, right? When March Madness was indefinitely postponed, right? This is a big deal. So I think that's going to be, what we're trying to hammer on from a marketing perspective. I will say, and this is something that I think is good advice for any business owner and for any person, period. And it's keep calm and carry on. And for those of you who know your history, that particular slogan, that particular poster, the very famous poster, was developed in 1939 for London, because the Nazis were bombing in these midnight terror raids where they would drop bombs on the city. And it was designed to disrupt daily life. Like, it didn't strategically provide a lot of effect other than the incredible psychological warfare, right? It was very effective in that regard. But the British, in their beautiful stoicism, came up with the idea that it's just keep calm and carry on. And I think that is exactly the advice that everyone needs to just follow. It's like, relax. The likelihood of you or someone you love getting sick and dying is incredibly low. Keep about your day. Use precaution. Wash your hands, all of the good things that you should be doing anyway, right? Do all of those things. However, it's going to be over soon. That's the good news about this, right? I think the pandemic itself is going to burn itself out relatively quickly. I think in 4 months, coronavirus is going to be relatively gone. That being said, I could be wrong, but I'm probably not. And that means that in 4 months, everyone's going to go back to realizing, wait, everything's fine. Now, some of the industries are going to be really hard hit. Travel's going to be hit hard. Commercial, all those things. Those are things going to be really hit hard. However, I do think that there are some businesses, e-commerce businesses particularly, who may do really well if people can not panic and continue to spend their money. So don't panic. spend your money, and preferably on us, and definitely feel free to reach back out. I do know that this podcast was late. I am aware that it is Friday, not Thursday. I want you to know the real honest to God reason that it was done on Friday rather than Thursday is that I forgot yesterday was Thursday until at like 9 o'clock at night. Like, I'm like, wait a second, is today Thursday? And I'm like, oh, I didn't do the podcast. So I apologize that it's late, but here we are. So, all right, folks, thank you for tuning in today. Be sure to check back in on Tuesday for our next topic. And don't forget to check that subscribe button below to be sure to get the latest podcast right away. If you have any questions or concerns about your leather binder, your folio, journals, anything like that, feel free to reach out to us and we will be happy to take care of it. If you have any questions, you can also contact us on the website at murdycreative.co, or you can contact us via Instagram or Facebook. You can text, email, call, direct message, all the usuals. I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. Twitter and Snapchat are also really good ways to get a hold of me because I don't get very many messages from them. So it's a little easier to find messages in Twitter and Snapchat. So check me out there. If you think I deserve it, a good review can help the podcast go a long way, but also a good review on the product can go a long way. So go check that out on Facebook, murdycreative.co on Facebook. You can go on the left side. There is a reviews tab. You click on that. You go, do you recommend the Murdy Creative Company? You say yes. And then you can write your whole review. And please do, because I really, really love them. They make my day. You can also go read all of our 80-something plus reviews we have. They're very encouraging, if nothing else. Word of mouth is still the best form of advertising. So definitely tell your friends about this. And if you want to make a little bit of money being an ambassador for the company, go check out murdycreative.co/ambassador. You can actually make a little bit of commission if you make sales through your tracking link. So go check that out. If you have any podcast topics you want to hear more about, send them my way. I'm happy to engage with our growing community, and I want to give you guys what you want. One of the things that I did not talk about in this podcast, that was literally why I was going to talk about this on the podcast, is our response to Corvid. Come on, Colin. Focus here. We are having our employees work specifically in shifts that are designed to minimize their contact with each other. Also, the WHO and the CDC have both issued approving warnings, like FAQ questions about, is it safe to touch packages that have come from places with coronavirus? And the answer is yes. It is safe to touch them. The coronavirus lives in respiratory droplets. It doesn't live very long on packages. We have no coronavirus confirmed cases that we know of in our area. Like Milwaukee doesn't have really any. So for all we know, so it's not going to be a problem at all as far as that goes. So don't worry about getting your package from us. It's going to be safe. It's going to be clean. We're doing our very best to make sure that everything we do here keeps people healthy. So you can also go read about that on our website. We have a little bulletin available there. If you want to hear more about a topic, though, send it my way. You can shoot me an email message, all of the usuals. I would love to talk about podcast topics with you guys. You can also leave something in the comments below, and I will do my best to get back to you. If you're looking for multiple binders, for gifts, giveaways, menus, really any reason, ask about our bulk discounts available. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day, and goodbye.